I always say, show me a good leader and I'll show you a good business. And you've been picking leaders for a long time as you pick companies that you want to invest in. And you obviously think about the entrepreneur, and I'm sure you have a perspective on that. What do you look for in a leader? What do you think makes a great entrepreneur?
Well, we back at Revolution, we have three separate groups. A very, very early stage seed investment group, when you're really just investing in a very small team or more in backing the idea. A venture group where it's invests in companies that have a little bit more scale. Maybe there's a couple dozen employees at that point. They started to figure out what business they're in and what the business model might look like. And we also have a later stage growth team that focuses on companies that really have kind of broken through, but really have, we think, significant potential. And one way to think about it from an investor standpoint, the seed fund generally is writing $500,000 checks in these companies. The venture fund, maybe $5 million checks, and the growth fund, maybe $25 million checks. So it's scaling. So the way we think about your question differs at each stage, because at that earliest stage, you're really betting on that person and that particular idea. As you head towards more of the growth stage, these really are starting to be real businesses. They might have 10, 20, $30 million of revenue, and we get convinced that they can be $1 billion plus of revenue. So those are some of the differences. There are some things that are pretty common, which is obviously this is about people, and it's not just about the entrepreneur, it's about the team the entrepreneur is able to assemble. Do they have the right mix of skills, whether they're tackling healthcare or tackling sports tech or fintech or whatever it might be? Having the right mix of skill sets to really bring to bear is critically important at every stage. And really having people that are thinking big. Entrepreneurship is hard. Startups are hard. Many obviously fail. We really want people that are super passionate about what they're doing, and therefore will stick with it when times are tough. With my experience with AOL, eventually it broke through, but it really took us a decade before we became kind of an overnight sensation. And we've seen that time and time again with other companies. So having people that are really driven by the pursuit of that idea, that pursuit of that vision, pursuit of that mission is critically important. And the last point I make is a little bit of humility. Confidence in entrepreneurship is critical. You have to really believe. You got to get a lot of other people to believe, to join your team, to invest alongside you, to partner with you, to be your customers. And so you've got to be super confident, but you also have to have a degree of humility, because these are challenging situations, and nobody knows exactly what's going to happen next. There's a lot of ambiguity, and so bringing a balance between being quite confident, but also having a certain understanding that you don't necessarily have all the answers. Maybe you don't even have all the questions, and so you're on a learning journey as these things develop.